Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Testing. Doing a sound check. Doing a sound check. Let me know out there if you can hear both my voice and this beat playing. Doing a sound check. Doing a sound check. Let me know out there if you can hear both my voice and this beat playing. Doing a sound check. Doing a sound check. Let me know out there if you can hear both my voice and this beat playing. Okay, it seems like we can hear my voice, but we can't hear the beat right now, so just give me a minute working on that. Okay, fifth dream today. You can hear me, but can you hear the music? And let me take a minute to play the music again. You can hear my voice. Okay, is that coming through? How about now? Okay, that seems better. Yes, you should be able to hear the beat now. Okay, is that coming through? All right. Let me just set the channel to go live, and we are ready to start the show. All right. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. So, it's been a little while since I've streamed anything related to Music to Die Alone in Space 2. I am, of course, the progenitor of the Music to Die Alone in Space 2 project, Spruke. And I've been hard at work rendering hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of copies of every track to help make this the first ever album that's recorded 310 separate times. So here in these folders, you can see that we've got a full 310 pulsars, along with some of them tagged as never heard. We've got 310 adrifts, 310 oblivions, And today we are working on absolute zeros. We are up to 178, and so I'll pick up right where I left off. I've hit a really interesting place in absolute zeros, and I'd like to show off what it is that absolute zero sounds like. So, without further ado, let's jump in. By the way, everything working okay technically? People can hear me fine. I'm clear. People can hear the music. Okay. Cool. So, the first thing, and really the heart of absolute zero, is the giant mess of notes here. So let's... Alright, I'm going to need to go back to an old version of the project to show it off, because this one's been heavily modified, so just give me a second. Fortunately, I save lots of backup copies the whole way. Delivery Sputnik. Delivery Absolute Zero BK. And up opens the Reason project. Alright. Foxango recorder. Okay. Yes, here we go. So the defining feature of absolute zero is the cloud of particles going every which direction. And the signature opening of the song is that they happen across all scale steps, all 12 different scale steps, and they're chaotic and without pattern. And from that formlessness begins to coalesce a standard pattern that emerges as you listen to it. So essentially, the way that's accomplished is through an arpeggiator that arpeggiates at random across all currently playing notes. Those of you who use synthesizers are probably familiar with this idea. You use an arpeggiator on a keyboard and you hold in 3 keys to play a chord, and instead of going blah, like a piano, it goes boop, 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 oscillating through the 3 notes you've picked. Well, this is kind of the same thing, where for as much of these notes as I hold down, it will cycle through those notes. So if I begin by playing this, okay. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Yes, that's the stuff. It's playing notes at random from this entire assortment. And as each note finishes its stay, that particular scale step ceases to happen. So the quantity of notes that are eligible to still be played begins dwindling until it catches on 3 permanent notes that last the length of the song. Now you hear it's just cycling through. So it's actually caught on a pleasant arpeggio. So one of the things that motivated me to make every copy of Absolute Zero different is that every single copy of Absolute Zero begins with all 12 scale steps playing. Utterly chaotic, you can't predict what's up. And then when you're hearing your copy for the first time, you won't know what kind of a chord will emerge out of the mess. And just as an example, let's say I can build it so to be a major chord. That would cause this to be a really pleasant sounding, peaceful build. So let's see. If these were the 3 notes that caught, it would be a major chord. Let's hear that. So here we have that chaotic section. Here we go. do mi so, 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 do mi so. And now it's supposed to sound like particles are still coming every which way, but there's some kind of an order or a form to them. Great. Okay. Then the kick drum enters. That's not a non-deterministic element in absolute zero. The kick drum is the same every time. Okay. Now the next thing to talk about is this guy. What we have here is a pad that also catches on the same notes. So when I edit this set of notes, I'm not only setting what all the arpeggiators do, I'm also setting what this pad does. And it has a randomly chosen pattern from a bank of patterns, choosing when it will kick in. That's a reason device known as the alligator. And so depending on what pattern I put it on, and sometimes I do have the power to randomly generate patterns, and I do that some of the time when I use an alligator. I'm not in this case. So here we go. You can hear this is pattern 48. But if I picked a different pattern, like 21, different rhythmic elements. So a different rhythmic subset. And some of them are very different. Or you can have it go faster. And so that's a feature of it. What rate it gates in. So now we've got two different elements for every render. There's the pattern at which the pad oscillates, but also what chord emerges out of the chaos of the pad that time around, along with the arpeggio. So just to give you an example of how that might sound different, let's set this to a rather pleasing chord. How about something like a seventh, which would be pretty chill. And so I'll do that, and then I'll scramble the arpeggiator, and we'll take a listen to just what that render might sound like. Okay. Here they go. So we've got the chaotic field. Some notes are beginning to leave. There's that pad. Yeah. Alright. How are people feeling about that one? Awesome. Hi, my multi-extruder. Cool. Kind of wish this was a real render almost, but I haven't quite gone through everything yet, so. Okay, now let's talk about the next couple elements. There's an element which is manually tweaked, not non-deterministically tweaked. There's nothing performative about this one. It requires manual oversight each time, but it does lend a character. So it's pretty much just this gentle oscillator that goes like so. Oh boy, it's not really doing much oscillating right now, is it? Let me see. Why are you making so little noise? Which plugin is holding you down? Thought something was missing. Reason channel. All small. Oh, okay. I think that's what's up. This is supposed to go out to Reason channel Dandelion, so that's an oversight. There we go. Cool. So what we have here is a synth, and it's pretty much just a pad. It actually really lends a lot of character to Absolute Zero, though. It's not musically complicated. I couldn't write musically complicated or complex chord progressions in this song because as I screw with the random element every time I render it, there could always be a different chord. And so if I had something like a chord progression in this song, like if this Dandelion synth was playing, you know, do, mi, so, something like that, I have no idea that that won't sound terrible because the chord progression behind it is like all flatted or something. So it's just playing down the octave, up the octave. But there's a couple of pieces of flavor thrown in there. There's a guitar amp on it that I tweak between runs. So a lot of times I'll choose a new amp model. About every 5 to 10 runs, I'll mix up the amp model. Now, I don't want anything that's going to evoke a literal earth amp. I don't want it to ever sound like a guitar. But when you're feeding something that's very unlike a guitar into it, you don't usually get guitar-y results. So let me try scrambling the amp. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay, and now this is a little high for my tastes. It's a bit on the nerves. Okay, that's a really cool effect. So we'll roll with that for one render. It's kind of sound that I tweak manually between renders. Alright, and then the last invisible ingredient is the bass. So the bass in this track is pretty boring. It's all it has to be. For those of you who've listened to Absolute Zero hundreds of times on your Canon copies by now, you know that the bass in this track, just by the books. One thing about Music to Die Alone in Space 2 is it doesn't have interesting percussion sections, because the whole ethos of the album was not to be interesting percussively. So I don't know if y'all can hear that as a low bass sound. I don't know if it comes through very well through the compression of the internet, the Twitch compression. But anyway, let's go ahead. Right here, I have a D12. So this is how I generate random numbers between 1 and 12, which works out great because there's 12 scale steps. And we're going to make the next version of Absolute Zero right now. So the first question is, how are we changing up the chord? So I'm going to take one of the stuck notes and move it to a new position. All right, it's going to position 7. Okay, that's going to put these two adjacent. All right, so this is our chord for this run. Now that's going to affect the cloud. It's going to affect the chill arpeggio pad. And I already scrambled our bass patch and scrambled our chill dandelion patch. Let's render E Sputnik holding cells, Absolute Zero, 179, 16-bit wave, audible bounce so that everyone can hear it. Okay. Stop me, guys, if you can't hear what's happening. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Settled in a tense feeling place because those two notes are right next to each other, half step apart. Okay, and then in the middle of an absolute zero, the other defining thing of an absolute zero happens, which is the lowering of the temperature. The tempo slows down, and it's supposed to sound like the particles are losing energy. They're losing kinetic energy. The gas is becoming a solid. So you hear them lock into position. It's still oscillating. Doop-a-doo-doo. And then it sticks. And this is still all governed by that same arpeggiator that did all the rest of the work. It's really, the whole track is kind of subservient to that giant arpeggiator. So then all the notes come back in at the end. It's back to playing all 12. And big cacophonous finish. All right. Then I have about 10-15 seconds of blank space because some configurations of settings I've used have generated echo after echo after echo, and it can go on for quite some time. So while I wait for the next track to get ready, I'm going to take my random number generator, and we're going to take the item that's in slot 7 and move it to slot 6. All right. Move you here and you here. Okay. New pattern. So we got that. We got, let's load up a new number here. I last left this off on like 48, I think. So I'm going to move it up to 49. And let's change one or more sounds. I think we're due for a new sound of cloud particle. So that's one I haven't played with recently. So here's the cloud particle sound. It's very... And sometimes I've had softer ones. So I'm going to make it a sine wave instead of a saw. And we're going to make that be the clouds. And so now it's going to be a much softer cloud. And I have to do that 4 times because there's 4 total of those synths going. So now this is what it sounds like. Same musically, but completely different feel. Way less harsh on the ears. Okay, that's going to be enough randomization for another render. So, come back here, select all, and output render number 180. And let's hear how this one settles now with the new chord. This is kind of abstract. comes that slowdown. Wow. It's really a different track with that softer cloud noise. Okay, here comes the point where all 12 notes re-enter. You can almost hear immediately that it's more chaotic. Alright, for this run, I'm going to take the one that's in slot 8 and put it in slot 11. As soon as we finish this tail end here. The other thing is I think I'm due for a new bass sound. Haven't changed up the bass sound in about 5 or 6 renders. And maybe even put a new bass amp on it. Let's play with that for a second. Okay, so first things first. Moving the guy from slot 8 to slot 11. So that would be... This one is 11 to 12, and you are the one in slot... Okay. So that's the new chord. Oh, that's going to be dissonant. I can tell by looking at it. Okay. Then over here, let's see what our current bass sound is like. Yeah. This is pretty cool. You know, I kind of want to build my own at this point. So I'm going to reset this. Now it's playing a real basic bass sound. Boop, 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 boop. That's okay, because I want to feed this thing through some, through an actual amp to get a real nice growly bass. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Okay, I'm good with that. Alright, scramble up a new pattern. And now that would be good enough for a new render. Okay, here we go. Episode number 181 of Absolute Zero. Yeah, this I can get down with. due for a new amp patch after this one. This one has already worn out its welcome on me. But I like the sound of that new bass. It's probably hard to hear in the lo-fi after all the Twitch compression, but the new bass is sitting in a really nice place in the mix. Hey, that's a nice freeze. That might be one of my favorite freezes yet. Cloud arpeggios are playing in and blow it up. Like, let's take it to the far end of the reverb. Wah! So I'm gonna go to the track that that all of them appear on. This one, and it's on a pretty mellow reverb right now. One more thing that I do between renders all the time is change mixing in addition to manually tweaking patches. So I've got the random parts that I can't always control, like all those random beeps coming, all those, can't help that. I have abdicated the assignment of the notes to a random entity, and I do like to manually tweak the patches. But another thing that I like to do is tweak the space. So something that I think would be pretty cool would be to take the space that these cloud arpeggios are playing in and blow it up. Like, let's take it to the far end of the reverb. Wah! So I'm gonna go to the track that that all of them appear on. This one, and it's on a pretty mellow reverb right now. And I'm gonna blow that reverb out of the water. I'm gonna take it to one of the biggest patches I have. Pole Nord is pretty big. All the way dry, not so much bass, but very wet and very size. Much wow, very size. Let's do all that. Let's take the note in slot 6 and move it to slot 11 is already occupied. 8. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so got that, and let's make a new sound that's getting fed into that amp, because I'm already over the current dandelion that we have. What do we got here? Okay, this guy's alright, but he needs to be down an octave. It's gonna get on my nerves as it is now. Okay, that's a serious new sound. Alright, I approve. Spruke approves. Send this one off to the rendering factory. Let's hear this giant reverb. Now we really are lost in space, sounding like that. Okay, this is a nice render. curious. I can't see who's in the chat, so I'm just wondering if some of the names I know from the Kickstarter are in right now. It's Andrew Wakefield, or Rob, or Becky, or Catherine. Any of the people watching right now? Because I don't know those people's usernames here. If so, hi. Whoops. Looks like we maxed out CPU on that one. And we've lost... Oh, darn. That happens every so often. Hang on, I'm going to close. You know what it is it's streaming while rendering. Puts a tax on the computer. Hi, my multi-extruder. Okay. That's a bummer to have lost that render. I liked that one. But, when you're making 310, sometimes you have to spare some. Looks like nobody will ever know the joys of that guy. Let's mess with it a little so y'all don't have to hear the same thing over again. Okay, something I'm interested in messing with is... Hey. Right here. So the sound that's getting fed into the rhythmic arpeggiator, I haven't played with it in a little while. I kind of want to get a super sync, so I'm going to do that. Okay, getting there. I'm missing something. There's one parameter not being included here that's stopping me from getting this sound just the way I like it. Is it the filters? Okay. No, I know what it is. It's just that the chord is a very unpleasant one right now. Alright, let's scramble that chord again. Just want to make sure that I'm doing this right. If I was to take parameter number U and put you here, would this be chill? Alright, yep, that's what I want. Alright, back on the wagon. Render number 182. Kind of a bummer to have one glitch out on stream, but it happens every so often. I've been putting this poor computer through the paces. 2,300 tracks exported, and those are hard on the CPU. Okay, let's see how this sounds. Can y'all hear that okay? Is that coming through? That's the sound I wanted. I do get a notification on the screen if it ever glitches on an unheard render. I mean, it popped up, it said, your audio engine has stopped, you overloaded it, you were running too many effects. So I would know. Part of the gamble is I am worried that it could always have glitched on an unheard render. However, I'd be more worried about something that isn't a glitch like your audio engine has dropped out. I'd be more worried of a glitch of the sound like you set one of your synths in a way where the product was extremely unpleasant and you weren't around to hear it. I really like pattern 50 in that alligator. I like the rolling element of it. My multi-extruder, are you one of the unheards? Oh, that's cool. Alright, for our next render, I'm going to take the guy in slot 11. That is not a valid option. 5. Alright. Into slot 5 it goes. Then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taken. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, what else can I do besides 5? 9. Alright, that works. Move you here, move you here. Okay. Now, getting a little bored with this guy. So I'm going to start running this through a glitcher. And I've got one I really like. It's really cool. It's about the most non-deterministic thing on the market. It's called Automaton, and it's a plugin that simulates Conway's Game of Life. Basically, it plays Conway's Game of Life over some icons, and when it's on a blue icon, it does a stutter edit. When it's over a red icon, it does a distortion. Over an orange, it does a bit crusher, and over a green, it does kind of a window frame replace thing. And I've got a couple presets in this I really like. So I make this so it randomly seeds the results of the Game of Life every time. I'm going to turn off the amp for now, so I make sure that the things I'm hearing aren't because of the amplifier. There we go. Okay. Nice. All right, a lot of random input coming in through this. No real way to anticipate what's going to happen. You hear these little glitches coming in now. The trick is to draw them so they aren't everywhere. I want it to be so that some legitimate portion of the time, the life does not cover the green section, so that green is not always triggering. I'm not sure I have the balance quite right yet. I think a couple of these are happening too often. Alright, yeah, I really like where this is heading. Okay. We'll do that. We're going to move this guy up to number 51. I really like this new instrument, so I'm going to make it a little louder because I don't like that it's kind of hard-ish to hear right now. I'm going to turn the delay on it off. And I feel like it had too much echo on it, so I'm turning that echo down too. I'm turning the reverb down. And I think we're primed for another render. 183 coming up. Oh, wait. Got to take the solos off first. Okay, this should be pretty cool. I thought one or more of you might like that Game of Life plugin. It's about the most non-deterministic thing in town. It's gonna do some cool shit. Yeah, Space Sick uses that plugin like crazy. This one's kind of got a real drone element to it, you know? Ah, the stutter at it is still going. I love hearing those little glitchers going everywhere. Here we see an example of why I made there so much fade out time. It's still ringing. Okay, there the sound finally stopped. All right, cool. I'm excited to hear where this is heading, but with maybe a more peaceful chord. So let's hope that we move the element in slot 5 to slot 3. Okay. That's that. Now I kind of don't like these soft clouds anymore. They're too gentle and they're kind of hard to hear the particles. So I'm going to edit the particle noise up a little. Maybe make it something with a harsher edge. Oh, I actually kind of like that. Okay, now that I've designed that for one of the 4 particle synths, I'll paste that across the others. Okay, so we've got the life stutterer, we've got new particle sound, we've got this guy up to pattern number 52. I'll tweak these knobs for good measure, and we've got a new render on our hands. Let's see how this sounds. 184, go. Whoa. That's intense. That's actually pretty anxiety-inducing to me. I like the chord it came to rest on. This is like a whole new beast here. It's crazy to me just how far away this track has gotten from where it started in a lot of ways. I mean, those of you who've listened through your Canon copies a lot of times, you know the absolute zero on, I want to say, I think Andromeda, and I know Low Guppy can confirm this. Like on Andromeda, it's like chill. You wanted to call it like peyote sky, and this is turning into a bad trip in a lot of ways, which I'm cool with. I mean, there's a lot of room left to explore in this track, which is why, as I was doing renders of it today, I felt encouraged to hold an impromptu stream, because it was starting to get such weird places. All right, let's take the guy in slot 9 and put them, well, if you say so. Okay, got that. Let's screw with that. All right, that's on 53. Let's change those parameters a little. Okay, something's missing. I kind of want to take this back to a more chill place. I think that maybe an amp that's not so harsh would help. And also maybe a new sound to get fed into the amp. So I'm going to work on this sound a little for a bit. We'll do a little bit of sound design. So we got this. Okay. First I'm going to turn the amp off. Okay. Now, let's get onto a new sound. I just want something pure, like saw waves. Something that just sounds nice and decent when it's not being glitched. Ooh. Okay. I see where we're going now. Alright. Lower the amount of glitches because they're happening enough that they're not special. So I'm going to lower the amount of life down to 10%. Which means sometimes when it spawns, it'll all die. Thereby producing a series of 2 measures that won't even have any effects. But then sometimes it spawns, and it'll get right over 1. Like this. So that's kind of neat. Oh, let's do a little more than that. Let's do 13%. Okay. I think we're in a good place with that. Now I can turn the distortion back on, the guitar amp. Oh, sick! Okay, cool. All that put together, I am Captain Planet. Let's unsolo, select all, and make absolute 0 185, guys. And if you're ever, watching along and you're like, wow, it's just, this is cool, but this is, repetitive, or it's not that different or something. Just remember, this is my life now. So this is the project, 310 of these per track. And we're on absolute 0 185. Oh, this is the chill place. Anyone else having Earthbound flashbacks? I don't know about what it was about that one, but that one got to be a lot for me. Okay, on to the next render. Let's take that guy that's in slot 3 and get him into slot 8. Alright, I can do that. It's a really easy slot to be in, slot 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Heyo. Okay. So that's that. Alright, I've had about enough of that glitcher, that life automaton glitcher on this instrument. I think it's time that it go work its magic on the bass. Honestly, I want to hear what it does if applied to the bass, which is very dry. It could use the help. You know, the bass just goes boom, 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 boom. So I think that this will have some cool effects. Let's see what it does. Yeah, that's just the fun the bass needed. Cool. Now let's see what this sounds like without those glitchers. It might need a new amp by now. Yeah, this amp is harsh. I'm going to go with a clean amp, because it is starting to sound a little too guitar-y for my taste, and I definitely don't ever take anything on this project to that kind of a place. So let's go into the clean category. Okay, pure. I can get down with this. Okay, all that said, well, there's one more thing I want to do. You may not even have heard them because they're such a contributing tiny factor, but there's these beeps that run through the second half of the track. And they're just kind of there to provide some flavor. So we got these guys. It's time to screw with these. That's cool. That's a whole new orange? What do you mean orange? Bah. Okay, we can take this. This is gonna be render number 186. This should be like nothing we've heard yet. Terry Pagula, you'll have to explain what the orange was in relation to. Sorry, I'm dealing with a lot of controls. I don't normally notice their colors. So this is a very consonant place for the chord to land. There's no dissonance at all in this configuration of notes. It landed on a chord of 3 notes that just works perfectly. This could be a Verizon commercial. Alright, for the next one, the guy in slot 12 is gonna head to... Is it a 6 or a 9? 6. Okay. I'm due for an update to the cloud sound. I'm due for an update to the pattern. And I'm obviously always move one of the notes. So 12 to 9 and pattern up to 55. Actually, you know, I'm due for just a new patterning plugin entirely. So not just a new numbered pattern, but I want to see a whole new set of settings here. But also a new cloud sound, because this one is getting on my nerves a little now. So it's got too much delay, it lasts too long, and I kind of want it to be short and staccato and choppy. So what if it sounded, you know, more like this? Where each one happened and then was over. See, and I'm just throwing this out there. Okay, that's too in the face. Let's move to a new place. Try this Desiree patch. Okay, I really like where this is at. Alright, we have enough fuel for a new render. And by the way, this is where, I mean, you guys have seen most of, you know, what I've had to offer in the last hour. We have another hour to go. I tend to evolve my tracks very slowly. Oh, you know, I forgot to scramble the thing. I forgot to move 12 to 9. I tend to evolve them very slowly. I mean, I've got all day, and I have to make it last 310 episodes. But I'm really open to, you know, audience input. If people have knobs they've been wishing they could see me turn, or they're like, God, what would it sound like if you did blank on blank? I'm ready, you know, almost for some audience participation at this point. Trust me, I've had more than enough opportunities to bring my own ideas to life. 310 renders of Oblivion, 310 renders of Pulsar, 310 renders of Adrift. I've found just about every way to screw with an instrument I can, especially in Adrift. Adrift was so dry. There was so little I could do in Adrift, because it really is just that synth and that bass. This is going to make for a good freeze. I can tell you now. This Desiree patch, when it gets to the freeze part, that's going to sound good. Like this. That's when the arpeggiator kicks in. really cool end to that render. Wow. All right. For the next render, I'm going to take the guy in the slot that isn't 9. I forget which one. I think it's 3 or 5. Take that guy, put him in 2. Okay. Advance U up to 56. Tweak this synth by moving it down an octave, which is something I'd been wanting to do. Turn the phaser on. Desiree, I'm going to leave as it is because I'm really happy with where Desiree's at right now. Pick a new bass patch. Sure. Proof that real quick. See if that bass patch sounds any good. Okay, cool. Plus the glitches are kicking in on it, which is just what I wanted. Okay. One more change I'd like to make before the next run. There's a plugin I like called Retro Delay, which is what's called a filter delay. So delay is the synth programmer's word for echo. So delay is, reverb is echoes you're in a cavernous hall sense. So it's where you say, hello, and it's like, hello. Delay is echo in a literal echo sense. So that's like you say, hello, hello, hello. A filter delay is a plugin where you get those echoes, but filtered each time. So it's a plugin that goes, hello, hello, and that's what I'd like to move to right now. So I'll show you how retro delay works. So I like to put this guy on and turn the volume all the way up, and you'll hear there's echoes. So you can clearly hear the echo behind each one. All right, now here's the fun part. You hear it in each ear. And see. It moves back up and down. It opens and closes. Then the other thing I want to do is I want to make it actually go up and down in pitch a little too, which is a great effect. So it's going to take a real long time to do it. It's going to only happen every 3 times 32, every like 70 something measures. But this will give it a little bit of a like up in the one ear while it's going down in the other ear kind of a sound. Okay, there we go. Alright, all that put together. Yeah, okay. Here we go, next render. So as long as I have everybody here, this would be a cool place to just talk about, like the economics of this project. And how I came up at it being $65 a copy. So by mass producing all the tracks at once, to make your individual copy that has 310 individually compiled tracks, by doing them all back to back, I save on overhead time. Every individual track takes about 6 total minutes of my time. Let's say 2 minutes spent tweaking the knobs or preparing it. followed by about 4 minutes for the average track to play it and listen. So that means to compile your album that's about 45 to 46 minutes long is about an hour and 10 minutes total of my time. However, who knows when I did your track? It could have been on any day. So somewhere a total of about 70 minutes of my time was spent on your album between this day, that day, the other day. Then, as you saw, it takes about 30 or 40 minutes, or maybe more like an hour, to compile one copy of the album. That's where, like we all saw the one day, I had the master project, where I took the master project and combined 12 tracks together, exported it and sliced it into little bits, and then mailed it off to Jeff Good. So all in all, it's probably about 2.5 hours per copy, which is how I came at $65. Pretty much made it the equivalent of working, you know, a labor or manufacturing job for the time I'm spending doing on this, which seemed about fair. Of course, that's not counting of the 25 grand, you know, about 15 of it being voice actors, artists. Spent a significant amount on voice actors and artists, music video, and of what's left, of course, the rest is taxable, which is all fun. So, in the end, well, it's the most expensive way to make easy money. The hardest way to make an easy living, they call it. In the end, I think I'll more or less have been working for free. And that's okay, because this is really cool. Just to share this with everybody. I mean, that's the main thing that keeps me going through the copies. Is, you know, especially when I hear stories like the one that, Rob posted in the comments the other day about what led him to do the VR experience, you know, saying that he went through a real dark period in his life, and this album kind of helps him cope with that or deal with that. Something like that is really powerful, and it's what, you know, keeps me going, because I look at it like, oh, when will I be done with all these renders? But the truth is it's not about when they're done. It's when you guys get them, because they haven't even begun to breathe yet. I want to see what people do with their individual copies. Hey, the guy in slot 9 is moving to slot 10. So, I mean, that's the part I'm really excited about, is to see what kind of a life these albums take on after I release them, you know? I turn these albums loose into the world at some point. I haven't even begun to yet. There's only 4 copies out there, 3 Canons and Jeff Goods. But I know that people are going to be using them for video game soundtracks. People are going to be using them. Some people just are keeping them private forever, sealing them up in a vault. It has a chance to mean all different kinds of things to all different kinds of people, and we haven't even begun to see yet what the repercussions of that are. So that's really cool. All right, I've got some Desiree. I guess I'm saying, you know, it doesn't matter that much to me that, you know, I wind up breaking even on the project in the end rather than having any kind of a financial windfall. I'm okay with it because of the amount of meaning I'm creating. Let's change up this patch. Okay, that's really cool. Yeah, okay. I can get down with this. Did I or did I not update you? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, Desiree. Desiree. That's a great image. This ended in a really peaceful place. Thanks, Terry. Does anyone else think that right now it kind of sounds like the intro of Baba O'Reilly by The Who? Teenage Wasteland? I think it sounds a lot like the intro of Teenage Wasteland. Shouldn't say that too loudly. I'll get hit by YouTube's content ID when this goes up on YouTube. Alright, I'm going to take the guy in slot 8, move them to slot 4. D12 action. Teenage Wasteland. Pew. Move you back to pattern 2. Like this bass patch. Let's keep it going. This patch is in need of an update. So Dark Juno, you've basically done your thing. I kind of want to put this through a random plugin. So another thing that I use a lot is this synchronous plugin. Alright, synchronous is pretty cool. It basically gives you the ability to draw 2-bar patterns. And one of the reasons I really like it is because I tire of manual input over and over and over again. Whereas the ability to draw in a program is like, okay, this will be the track where it's like a smiley face or something. Now, this isn't one of the ones that lets me do that, but I can basically draw in any pattern I want. So let's check it out. I'll take something like this. So basically it's going according to a pattern as it moves through these. It looks like the yellow controls volume. And it looks like the reverb goes up and down based on... No. The filter goes up and down based on blue. The distortion goes up and down based on pink. So I can do something like pick a new pink curve and draw it in. And I can make the distortion go like this. Cool. Now this sound isn't doing a very good job of providing the material. Let me pick a different sound. Cool. So now something I can do to keep scrambling each take is simply draw in new parts of the thing. Pick and say, oh, you know, I'm gonna make such and such a parameter stutter here. And now I've got a stutter section. and I can hear the results just like that. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna take all this. Nope, I may not yet. I did not yet move my magic number. I said I was going to move the guy in position 8 to the guy in position 4. Very well. Now we are ready. Okay, here we have one more render. Absolute 0, 190 coming up. I think this will be the last render that uses the Desiree patch. It did a pretty good job, but I could go with something softer now. It is kind of hard on the ears. But now we can watch how the dandelion patch gets this stutter in it. Yeah. That's cool. Oh my gosh, Terry, let up on the Desiree patch. Oh, that's cool. Absolute Zero is a pretty cool track. Alright, for the next one, I'm going to take the guy in slot 10 and move them to slot 5. So one thing I can do now between every batch is just draw some new curves. Change it up and be like, okay, now you go like this. You spike, you come down, you come down. And that's just kind of a real fun way to come up with new patterns between runs, sort of let semi-random, semi-planned things take their hold. Alright, so I got that. Move to a new arpeggiator. I said I would move the guy in slot 10 to slot 5. Ooh, that's going to be dissonant. I'm okay with that. I like the dissonant ones. But look at that. All our held notes are right next to each other. So this is basically as if you walked up to a piano and you were oscillating between E, G, and G sharp. That's going to sound rough on the old ears. And I said I was going to change up the Desiree patch, so let me find a different way this can sound. I like it mostly. Okay. Let me see how this sounds once it's spread across all 4 pieces of the cloud. That's kind of neat. Okay. Paste. Alright, let me just make sure that everything's good here. Okay. Yeah, this is cool enough and fresh enough to make a new render out of. 191, here we come. Something I said a couple Kickstarter updates ago. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. 1 track at a time. If you multiply it all out, I have about 600 hours of work. More like 800 hours of work making all these albums based on the time estimates I gave earlier. So it's about half an American working year. Ooh, this one is angry. This one is kind of chaotic. Alright, so something I want to do for the next one is put a plugin on the main cloud that isn't supposed to be on it. Something that just doesn't make sense. I wanna change the formula for the next render. Give somebody something that comes out of left field. So first, always have to change the chord. So I got my D12. Gonna move to slot 3. Whoop, bloop, bloop. All Alrighty. And I would like to put a plugin that's only supposed to be used to master drums on this track. So I'm going to save because the likelihood that I damage this file is high. Okay, yeah, I want to do that. And I want to save you too. Alright. Let's take the drum plugin, PX64 percussion strip, and get this on here. And see how it makes it sound. That's really cool. Get some distortion on there. Awesome. Wow, that's really cool. All right. I like that, Terry. Okay, let's try this. I think this is good enough to be another take. There's one more thing. I had a little fun with the bleeps and bloops when they were like this. Ooh, that's not gonna work. Ooh, how about just making it literally flat? Just the wrong note. I think that I don't know how I'd feel if I was the person who got this copy. It's something though. It's like, what do you do about that note being flat? I'm ready for it. I don't know if I did the right thing. Oh, the chord landed in a pleasant spot this time. Oh, I forgot to redraw a new pattern. I can do that while it's going. It's flat. Oh. Okay, I can only roll with this for one render. This is one of the most pleasant freezes I've heard yet, though. Honestly. It's one of the only freezes that's very consonant. It doesn't sound sick or decaying. only one take with the flat synth. What a weird beast of a track this one is. Alright, see you later, Terry. Thanks for watching. Keep on being patient. We'll get you your copy one day. Alright, let's draw a little bit of a new pattern here. Let's get some 30-second note stutters. Blow! Let's get some 8th note stutters over here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's upgrade you to position number 6. Desiree's still in a good place. No, let's mess with it a little. I know we'll do these and that, and I'll copy this across all 4. I have to pick a new set of notes. That's the most important thing, setting a new set of notes with every render. The note, nope, that is not a valid setting. That is position 3. Just take this. Nope, somebody's already in it. Position 12, that works. Get up there. Okay. Got all that. Now it is time to get that flat synth the heck out of here, because once was enough. Get out of here. 280s. Alright, I don't really like this synth, so I'm gonna... Okay, this is pretty normal. I think I can live with this. Okay. It's a good setting for that. Alright, the only other thing I haven't messed with in, you know, maybe 5 or 6 renders is I haven't changed up the amp. So let's get that going. That'll do quite nicely. Alright. I already think we probably got something good on our hands. Here comes Absolute Zero 193. And I'll bio while I hear this one. Have I missed anything? How's it coming in here? I just ate for the first time earlier this week at this Pie Craft restaurant here in Buffalo. Oh, it's so good. It's like a Subway, but of pizza. You go through a line and short order, design your pizza where you go, and then you cook the whole thing. Yeah, it's too much like Kramer's idea from Seinfeld. Anyway, I want that again tonight. How many pizzas can a man eat? That was unnecessarily jumbled. How many pizzas can a person eat? All right. Next up, let's see. Now, this guy's become a little destructive, so I'm going to load up a new preset because that was getting a little out of hand. It was like it almost never played the sound playing. It was so busy being glitched every time. Update you, move you up to position 8, and take the guy in slot 5 and put him in slot 8, says the dice. Alright. Very well. You're the boss, dice. Okay. Alright, we got all that. Things have been getting a little too, glitchy for me lately. So I'm going to take the automaton off the bass, where I've had my fill of what it does with the bass line, honestly. And I'm going to put it on those beeps that go bloop boop bloop boop bloop boop. Those guys can get the glitch. But also, I'm going to actually turn the amp off for a little while. I think that's okay. And I want to scale things back because, as I work on each track, I keep adding things to make it richer, more non-deterministic. And then every once in a while, it's fun to pare back and be like, let me take this track back closer to the original concept I had for it before I screwed with it so much. And that can produce a pleasing effect as well. Yeah, like, haven't heard that sound before. Okay, so that's enough ammo for another render, and it should be less noisy. Okay, so earlier today, opening up about something personal here. I went to get a consultation for laser hair removal, and I didn't like the price they gave me, so I tweeted asking, does anyone know a good place for laser hair removal in the Buffalo area? And at least 10 people tweeted back with various puns on, like, why do you have hair in your Buffalo area? That's the joke each time kept being, like, the area the hair needs to be removed from is the Buffalo area. So does anybody know a good place for laser hair removal in the Buffalo area? And they're like, I don't need to know about your Buffalo area. Well, I just got another reply to that now. Everyone's so funny. Okay, so what we're hearing in this render, it's so much more basic. It's like back to the heart of absolute zero. It doesn't have a million things going on. It's just got the particles bouncing around. there's that absolute zero freeze. I actually think I may have blown up the track a little too much in the last 3 or 4 renders. I really like it now that it's simpler again. For the next render, and I have one more. We have time for one more render in this session. Then I'm gonna go get me some pie craft, custom design my own pie again. Jerry, you gotta design your own pie. I'm gonna take the guy in slot 8, I think is where he is right now, and put him in slot 3. And let's oscillate this dude up to spot 10. Because I'm trying to make things more simple, I'm going to move all these back to being regular analog synths because I like how simple they're being right now. Just simple sounds. I'm going to take the dude in that slot and put him back in slot 3, which is this one. Okay. See, I got all that. I don't have anything else non-deterministic that needs to be randomized right now, I don't think. Oh, that's really pleasant. Turn that up. Okay. Yeah, all right. That'll do me good. I guess let's just reduce the amount of that synth so that it's even simpler. All right, I'm on a simplifying kick now, and this will be the last absolute zero. So I don't know where we started at the beginning of the session. I think we made it through about 24 absolute zeros together. We're almost at 200, which means I'm like 2/3 of the way done with absolute zero. Once I'm done with absolute zero, it'll probably be on to void or maybe rotations next, and just keep on cranking until the magic number is closer to 3,700. And then comes the compiling phase, and we get people their custom albums. Oh, this is a good place to end. This is a good one to end this session on. Gosh, that's chill. So I promised 310 total copies of the album, so 310 copies of each track. Which means when you get your copy, it's going to have labels on every track, right? As you might have seen in the one video, to assemble your copy one day, my multi-extruder, I'm going to load up the master project from which I compile total albums, and at certain time slots I'm going to be like, okay, time for my multi-extruder's version of the album. You're going to get a Drift 271, Refract number 25, Rotations number such and such, etc. And so, since I've sold 310 copies of this album, I have to have 310 tracks to work with for each track. As I use up each one, I'm marking who got it. So if you look down my list of Oblivions here, I'm making a note that Oblivion number 56 went to the Tasuki no Usagi, 73 went to Cepheus, 142 went to Andromeda, 219 went to Jeff Good. And so, as I begin compiling these, I'm going to start taking more and more out of the list. One of these days when I make your copy, I'll pick 203, put that in your album, and change it to, say, 203. my multi-extruders copy. And to have enough to go around, since I'm making 310 of these albums, 310 per track. So yeah. And one of the things that's really cool is because they evolve as they go, and tracks that are adjacent to each other wind up being very similar, but two tracks that are separated by 100 will be nothing alike. People will, if they want to reverse engineer this album after it's all done, they'll be able to find, like, streaks. And, you know, I expect there's been a lot of people who've been trying to, like, run analysis on what I'm doing. And you'll be able to go back and say things like, oh, I definitely agree that the 210 to 250 streak of Oblivion was where things got really sweet. Those are the best Oblivions, or something like that. And I know that I've personally been making notes of where each track I felt really hit its sweetest spot and came to life. One of the things I've been saying in my updates is that it's been interesting to me. Some of the tracks are still very alive with me, even by track 310. I mean, I was sick as hell of a drift at track 310. At track 310, I never want to hear a drift again in my life. But, you know, Pulsar. Pulsar is an incredibly repetitive track, but even at number 310 of Pulsar, I was still really interested. I was kind of sad to close it, because I'm like, man, I almost want to hear what Pulsar 311 will sound like at this rate. Well, anyway, that's all the time we have for today. So you guys have heard about 24 different samples of what Absolute Zero can sound like. You see how it is that I'm generating absolute zeros. Maybe this will get you all excited for how your absolute zeros will sound one day when you get your copies. You know, will it be one of the more good combinations of chords where the notes resolve nicely and the cloud is pleasant, or will it be one of the dissonant ones? Will there be glitches in yours, or will it be more pure? Will it have lots of echoes, or will it be very narrow? All kinds of different things to be excited about. So I'll end the stream here, and thank you everybody for your continued excitement and involvement in this project. It's a long haul, but I am eating the elephant one bite at a time. All right. Thank you all very much. Spruke out.